congratulations on this comedy special. As you probably know, Australians love comedy. We have one of the biggest comedy festivals in the world right here in the city that I'm in. So a lot of people are excited to be able to check out your comedy special. So congratulations.
Thank you a ton. An odd fact, as you watch my crazy comedy special, no one really knows this, but I am separated from an actually lovely Australian woman. So my actual wife at the moment is Australian.
Oh, wow. So tell us a little bit, how did you two meet?
We were crazy, way too young here in Los Angeles, having way too much fun. We met about 9 years ago. Still best friends. Oh, God, we love each other, talk every day. But, yeah, man, I've learned a lot about the Gold Coast, man. Definitely a fan of the people there, and definitely know and understand their love for comedy and the arts in general.
Yeah. Preston, I love how your press release refers to you as an up-and-coming comedy genius. So tell us a little bit about your comedy career to date, and what was that sparked inside you that knew that you were going to be a comedian?
That's funny. I was an extremely shy kid growing up. Not much into public speaking, not much into being in front of groups of people. So for me to be doing stand-up, my mom said it a few years ago, it's kind of nuts to her that I even get on stage and talk in front of people. But for me, I started writing comedy in 2007. My first performance was in 2010. And it was after I spent about 4 or 5 weeks in New York, and just watching the people in New York was amazing. How they interact in the subways, how they interact on the streets, how they really just don't care. Right?
Yeah.
And they just kind of go about their lives, whether they were playing banjos or people were selling things on the street, whatever the case may be. And when I got back to LA, it made me realize, like, I'm overthinking this. Just write the damn jokes and get on stage. Either they're going to like it or they're not.
Yep.
And once I took that attitude, it's like the world changed, and now you can't get me off the stage.
Yeah. What was your first time on stage like? Because I did my first stand-up routine on stage just before the pandemic hit, and I was nervous. I was as nervous as hell, but then once I was out on the stage and people were laughing, I felt fine. But what was that first time like for you?
You nailed it right on the head. That's what changes that first experience, is when people start laughing. Because if you get them to laugh, your nerves go away extremely quickly.
Yep.
And I'll never forget, it was 2010. It was June of 2010. It was my first week back from New York. It was at the Palm here in West Hollywood. And I'll never forget, it was a 5-minute opening act. And I got to watch 3 or 4 comics go up before me. And I'm a very nice person when it comes to, I give everybody their fair share. They were horrible. I mean, it was a true open mic. None of us knew what the hell we were doing. But the guy in front of me couldn't utter a word. And for that, like for me, that was, I was like, well, hell, as long as I can go up there and put 2 sentences together, I'm already ahead of this guy. And so I got on, and my first joke, as you said, I told my first joke. Someone laughed, right, and the laughter kind of built in the room, and instantly the nerves went away, and it kind of became this other animal. And, on to joke 2 and on to joke 3, and it was only 5 minutes. But after that, it was kind of, I was hooked on something, and I'm gracious for that first experience, too, because I don't know if I would have had that confidence to really go up and believe in myself had those people not gone in front of me and actually had a bad night,
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So for our listeners out there who haven't been able to check out your comedy, tell us, how would you describe your comedy and what kind of things inspire your comedy?
Oh, God, I'm going to be telling too much information here. Real life inspires my comedy. I did a podcast and an interview right after I did the show, and one of the guys asked me how much of the show was real and how much of it was, fake and written. And I said, like 98% of that is real. And he was baffled. He was like, I was in that audience. And he goes, the stories you were telling were so outrageous. I was like, exactly. Real life is always stranger than fiction.
Yep.
And, you don't have to try to live the Hollywood or LA life. You either are or you aren't.
Yep.
And so I've been out here for 13 years now, and I hear some of these stories of people, and I've made it, and these great stories. And I was like, great, I did that 10 years ago as a nobody. And so it's a kind of as I tell people, it's a sliding scale of understanding what's happening, where you are, and just enjoying the moment.
Yep. I think also when you're talking about things from your own life, it comes across as more natural, and the audience can relate to it more as well. Is that something that you find?
That's the first review I got this morning. As the show came out, one of my old high school friends, and he and I hadn't talked in 17 years, and he's a musician back in Texas. And his first critique was Preston, the reason I enjoyed the show was because it seemed 100% genuine.
Yep.
It seemed like we're coming from a real place. And I said, that's the best part. Not only was this show only performed one time, one night only, one time through, it was genuine. It was that night for the crowd only. And, so for me, I think that provided a really unique experience, that it is something genuine and unique. I didn't shoot 7 or 8 different takes and different shows trying to get the shots right. Like, you got that night or that was it.
Yep. So tell us a little bit about this comedy special. How did it come about for you, and what can people out there expect to see when they sit down to watch it?
Coming together was crazy as far as my first time producing a show and kind of pulling all of that together. Really seeing what it's like to be behind the camera instead of in front. Definitely learned a lesson that, man, congrats and my hat's off to all the marketing, producing, people like yourselves and everyone out there. It's a lot more work that I'm not willing to do. It was fun to see it and do it once, but now I hope that, I can pay other people to do that going forward. And as far as the show, it really is a look inside my life. I've kind of, come from a town of 4,000 or 5,000 people, a really small country farm town, and kind of, being able to see a bigger picture, getting out of that, what it was like, racism, dealing with it here in the States, and kind of my ridiculous take on it, because I've never been too kind of caught up on it as much as it politically or politicized as it is here. And then kind of what it was like for a country kid to show up in Los Angeles, and you read the tabloids growing up, right? You see the stuff when you check out at the supermarkets, but what's it like when you're actually the person doing it?
Yeah.
So for me, that's my hope of what I put on the stage. And at the end of the day, I hope people are laughing, having a good time, and I want to give people a break from their normal day. That's my hope.
Definitely. Preston, I have to ask too, how has the pandemic affected the comedy scene there in LA? Because I know for a lot of comedians here, there was nothing that they could do for 12 months. It killed our comedy festival last year. So this year's comedy festival has become a celebration of being back out on the stage. How has the pandemic affected you guys there?
It's been rough. They tried doing the online shows and the Zoom shows. I wasn't really a fan, and as a lot of people say, you need the feedback. And so if I don't get the feedback, what's the point? It's fun and all, but I'm there for the people and the people that kind of came out and gave their time. So it was really hard change. Here, it's been a dead scene, to be honest. I actually performed for the first time 2 weeks ago. So I literally didn't perform for over a year, and that was rough.
Yeah, that was actually my next question. I know that the vaccine is being rolled out in America at the moment. Is the scene starting to open back up now?
Are crazy. Things are either open or they aren't, but in California, things have been pretty much closed since last March, and they just came out with an order yesterday that said that they plan to actually open up closer to June. So, I mean, if you think about it, from last March and all the way through this June, we're just now getting ready to open back up.
Yeah. Well, mate, we wish you all the best of luck. We hope that it does pick up for you very, very soon. But for now, we have the pleasure of being able to watch your comedy special. So I guess the best question to end with is, what would you like to say to all the Aussies out there who are thinking about sitting down this weekend and watching it?
To all the Aussies out there thinking about that, I would say grab a bag of popcorn, grab your favorite champagne or beer, take about 61 minutes out of your life to, get out of your head, get out of work, get out of, the kids' practices or whatever. and just take a moment to laugh at yourself and enjoy life, because that's all I was hoping to do with Farm to TV.
Definitely. Well, mate, thank you so much for chatting to us today. It's been an absolute pleasure, and hopefully one day we get to see you here on the stage in Australia performing live.
That'd be amazing. I appreciate your time today, David. Thank you.
Not a problem, mate. I'll let you go. Have a great night.
You as well.
See you later. Bye.